Welcome to the Peace Pentagon Hub vlog. The Peace Pentagon is a conference and training center for progressive programs and sacred activism located in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Our hub vlogs feature thought leaders and futurists in each sector of society, where every day synergistic solutions are emerging to help us build a new world.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Peace Pentagon Hub vlog. I'm Katie Kennedy, a member of the Path of the Peacemaker at the Peace Pentagon. And with me today is Tahil Sharma, right? The Regional Coordinator for North America at United Religions Initiative. I want to say before I start asking some questions that Oracle is proud to be a URI cooperation circle. And those who are new to hearing about this organization can find the link to the URI charter, which includes their preamble, purpose, and principles in the description below. And I will also include a link explaining what cooperation circles are as well. So, Tahil, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Yes, so welcome.
Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'll start with our first question. Some of our viewers might not be familiar with United Religions Initiative. So how would you describe the organization to someone who has never heard of it before?
Absolutely. For those of you who are hearing of the United Religions Initiative for the first time, URI is the biggest network of grassroots interfaith organizations in the world. We are over 1,050 chapter organizations based in 108 countries. And we serve one of the largest regions here in North America with 95 cooperation circles, representing all faith traditions, all sorts of fields of expertise, and all sorts of amazing organizations like the Oracle Institute in our network. And this idea of being connected in a network like this is to strive for collaboration, it's to strive for cooperation, and for a time of lifelong learning between organizations. Our mission is to make interfaith cooperation a daily norm. We want to make it a daily routine for all of us across difference to be able to work together to create sustainable peace, justice, and healing. And what we believe is that in the grassroots, it means every person has a role to play and every person can make a difference.
Right on. That's actually a large part of what drew those of us at Oracle to URI, the emphasis on what we call applied spirituality, where you use your faith to make a more just and peaceful world for everyone. So what was it about URI that drew your attention? And is there anything specifically that relates to your personal spiritual path?
Yeah, so I first got introduced to URI in 2015 at the Salt Lake City Parliament when they were doing an innovation hub for young people. And I had never heard of the organization. I was already involved with the Parliament previously. And long story short, after having a good conversation with Victor, after meeting Sari for the first time as well, it sort of grew an internal relationship to realizing how valuable the grassroots work was. For those of you that don't know, there are three major global organizations dedicated to interfaith: the Parliament of the World's Religions, Religions for Peace International, and URI. They all have different methods of how they see value and connection with pushing for interfaith cooperation. And for the longest time, I saw the value in all three, but my heart was always in doing grassroots work because that was my background in understanding my faith traditions and the fundamental roots of service that come from Hinduism and Sikhism for me. But also a deep part of what I do as a human rights and social justice activist. All of those intersections sort of came together in a beautiful way to always remind me that the grassroots has the most power. Because it's a people's movement and groundswell that creates the biggest change. And that's what led me, I think, very organically to start getting more involved in URI in a number of different ways, through collaborating through conferences and working with CCs and stuff like that, up until March of this year when I became the regional coordinator for North America.
Great. That's actually when I first found out about URI, we were at Salt Lake City at the Parliament as well. So that's awesome.
Awesome.
So this year marks URI's 20-year anniversary, which is really impressive. What are some of your thoughts about what URI has accomplished thus far, and what are you most excited for and hopeful for in the future as they enter their third decade?
Yeah, 20 years of URI is no small task. It's an organization that continues to explore what it means to be engaged, what it means to be uh, a part of the structure in which we make this world a better place. What I hope for this third decade is actually that we explore more of our areas of discomfort and interfaith. Um, we're very much a part of this idea of being a cohesive unit, but not realizing that we often do it because we don't want to tackle very uncomfortable conversations about race, about minority religions, about socioeconomic status, about a lot of status quo systemic injustices. And I would argue that if we were going to do anything, it would actually be to be a part of the dismantling movement of these systems that actually do not make us equal. Because those actually impact the tyranny and the oppression that continue to be implemented on so many communities around the world. And we've seen this culminating point or this reckoning for us in the United States with what happened after George Floyd's death. Addressing over 400 years of oppression to minority communities is not a mammoth task and can't happen overnight. But the first step is to acknowledge that we have a very big problem to face and that we're not looking for allies, as a colleague told me, we're looking for accomplices for justice.
Yes, that's beautifully said. It actually ties into my last question. What motivation or advice would you give those of us who are seeking to cultivate peace and justice at this time, considering what we're facing, with the George Floyd movement and the things that are nationally and even globally impacting us?
Don't ignore what's staring you in the face. Whether it's racism, whether it's climate change, whether it's a plethora of different issues that might be going on, we cannot ignore those things and think we can create peace. Because by ignoring those things, we're actually perpetuating chaos. We're perpetuating violence. So let's be careful not to do that. And it goes into my second point about standing with any issue is important, but you can't work on every issue. So make sure you emphasize this point of specializing what you do, but don't hesitate to be that accomplice towards other issues that may not be your strong suit. Because at the end of the day, our moral compass is so influenced by everything that happens in the world. And just because we're doing one thing in one sector doesn't mean we can't do something positive in other sectors of the world. So we should be really intentional about the little changes, those incremental ones, and the massive revolutionary ones that will make a difference. And third, don't talk about representation as a token. If you want to be intentional about diversity, equity, and inclusion, act on it. You want young people to get involved, put them in places of leadership and critical thinking. If you want to have genuinely representative ethnic, traditional, and indigenous voices in a space, put them at the forefront where they're most comfortable and let them lead the way. Don't be the person that's always needing to develop a savior complex around yourself to make that happen. Because when you organically give people leadership, they'll run with it and they'll do great things with it.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of our vlog. And I look forward to our future URI connections.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Katie, and thanks for the Oracle Institute.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. To learn more about the Peace Pentagon Hub, visit peacepentagon.net. And if you're interested in living with other cultural creatives, check out the Valley of Light micro-community at the Oracle campus in Independence, Virginia. To learn more about the Valley of Light, visit our other website, theoracleinstitute.org.